Roy, thanks for joining us today. I mentioned to the viewers earlier on that we do hold Woolworths in a number of our funds, so we're very keen to hear your view on sustainability and what you guys are doing at Woolworths. So over to you. Thank you, Roy.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. On behalf of Woolworths, it's really great to be here today and to be able to participate in this forum. I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to talk to you about how we approach sustainability at Woolworths. This is something that we are very passionate about, and it does influence literally every aspect of what we do. Certainly, I think sustainability has become a very hot topic, and it does feature quite prominently across business strategy today. And for us at Woolies, it is a critical component of how we operate, of how we run the business, and also how we and what we do to secure our future. So what I plan to share with you today is a little bit about our group and specifically our approach to sustainability through our good business journey. I'll also touch on some of the imperatives as we see them. I'm going to share some of our focus areas and some of the things we've accomplished so far. And then I'll conclude on some of the areas we plan to focus on as we go forward. The Woolworths Group is an organization that has been around for a long time. It's a company that has a very rich heritage and a storied history. And at the outset, I thought I'd give you a quick perspective on the group and where we operate. The group's core operations are located across several African markets, as well as in Australia and New Zealand. And we trade as Woolworths in South Africa and Africa, and under the brands of David Jones and the Country Road Group in Australia and New Zealand. Woolworths as a company is one that is strongly values-driven. And our commitment to sustainability has in part been born out of those values. There has been a lot of debate about the potential trade-offs and the business case for investing in sustainability. But in my mind, there is no question that our value as a business and our values as a company are inextricably linked. I think it is wrong, therefore, to assume that we, or any company for that matter, must choose between business performance and responsible social conduct. The most successful companies do both. That's how they drive growth, that's how they strengthen their brands, and that's how they also keep their people and their customers inspired and engaged. And I'm really excited and proud to be leading an organization that has been at this now for some time. And I'm pleased to be able to share with you some of the things we're now doing at Woolies. If one looks at the history of the company, one will see that aspects of sustainability have been on our agenda for many decades. But we really only got behind sustainability in a concerted way in 2007 when we launched our good business journey. This is what we called our holistic end-to-end sustainability strategy. The initial focus was on our foods business, but we later expanded it to include all other businesses across the group. I think the title "Good Business Journey" is in fact, I think, quite apt, because we have been on a journey, and that journey continues. It's almost never ending. It's something we work on every day to continuously improve our efforts in making an enduring and a positive impact on the world around us. The Good Business Journey was, in fact, first of its kind in South African retail. We committed ourselves to deliver on some fairly ambitious goals in several important areas, such as environmental impact, our supply chain, our people, and our communities. And what was interesting, we weren't always clear as to how we would get there. But having stretch goals and setting ourselves those stretch goals served to galvanize efforts across the company in pursuit of achieving them. Over time, we've also affirmed our vision to be one of the most responsible retailers in the world and have continuously strived and stretched ourselves to do more. For us, as I mentioned, the sustainability imperative is clear and compelling. There are several important reasons why sustainability and what we call responsible retailing is important to us. Firstly, climate change is real, and it is a threat to all life on this planet if we don't step up now and take action. Sustainability is a business critical issue, in my view, for any company with a supply chain, any company that uses natural resources. We must take responsibility for the human and the environmental footprint of our products and of our operations. Secondly, business continuity risks that arise from the impacts of climate change requires active and urgent work to mitigate those risks across our supply chain. Thirdly, it is simply good business. It makes good business sense. Since implementing the Good Business Journey strategy, we at Woolies have seen significant savings across all of our businesses. In fact, more than 1.2 billion rands of savings over the past 5 years alone, primarily in the areas of energy productivity and water efficiencies. And very importantly, we believe we have a real responsibility. We have an ethical obligation towards the people in our supply chains, not only those that are in our direct employ, but also those who are involved in the production and the manufacturing of the products we sell. So we need to ensure safe and fair working conditions and overall well-being. And finally, consumers and investors are increasingly asking for it. I mean, research will confirm that a company's commitment to sustainability features very prominently amongst millennials and Gen Z when considering which brands or which products they buy, where they choose to shop, and also which companies they choose to work for. Looking at the Good Business Journey, I mean, currently the Good Business Journey here at Woolworths consists of 8 important focus areas. These focus areas we identified through a robust materiality assessment and stakeholder engagement process, and they really cover the issues that we deemed were most material to the group as a premium food and fashion retailer. The first one around ethical sourcing. Our relationship with our suppliers is enviable in the industry. We do have very high expectations and standards when it comes to supplier ethics and conduct, and our ethical sourcing programs are targeted, amongst other things, at improving the lives of workers in our supply chain. And they're also aimed at having a positive impact on the communities from which we source our products. One of our initiatives in support of this is that we conduct assessments or audits across all our suppliers to ensure that they in fact comply with our code of business principles, which, as I say, primarily relates to the way they treat their employees and how they operate their businesses as well. Water is obviously an important focus area for us too. A constant supply of clean water is essential to our value chain, from the growing of commodities through to the manufacturing and sale of our products. We do operate in some of the most water-stressed regions, and of course, the efficient management of water remains a pivotal factor for us in ensuring the continuity of our business. We do collaborate extensively with stakeholders across the value chain to deal with the challenges of water quality and availability. And we also have several very important partnerships with government, with NGOs, and the private sector to advance sustainable water policies across the industry. At the moment, we're in fact working on stewardship projects with the WWF in South Africa in 2 of our key sourcing regions. And we're also driving various water usage and efficiency initiatives with our farmers through our flagship Farming for the Future program. Another focus area for us relates to sustainable farming. Through our sustainable farming programs and in conjunction with our farmers and suppliers, we continue to work on ways to improve farming and animal welfare practices. In this way, we are aiming to ensure a more sustainable, more resilient and inclusive food system for our people, our communities, and of course the planet. A further focus area for us has been in the area of people and transformation. And here our group people strategy is focused on creating a culture where everyone is developed, and diversity and inclusivity are key components of this. One of our programs, our Supplier and Enterprise Development Program, aims to really remove barriers for emerging Black and Black woman-owned businesses to become suppliers. We assist in unlocking market opportunities, we provide capital, and we also provide extensive support in building the relevant capabilities for them to run their businesses. In terms of social development, here we strive to make a meaningful difference in the areas of education, food security, and community resilience in the countries that we operate in. Moving on to health and wellness, this is primarily about creating a safe and healthy working environment for our people. Also, though, as a food retailer, we do aim to inspire our customers to make healthier choices by providing them with a wide range of healthy food options. For example, through removing excess salt or sugar from our products, and increasingly expand the range of plant-based foods available in our stores and online. And you would have noticed that when you shop at Woolworths, for example, we have purposefully really replaced the standard candy offerings in our checkout aisles with healthier alternatives. Looking at energy and climate change, here we are focused on several initiatives to significantly reduce energy consumption and carbon emissions across our value chain. And as a result of the improvements we have made in energy productivity, we are now servicing almost 3 times the square meterage for every megawatt hour used than we were just when we started the Good Business Journey. And finally, a big focus area for us is waste and packaging. In 2018, we embarked on an ambitious journey by committing to a target of 0 packaging waste to landfill. And since then, we've already eradicated more than 350 tons of packaging. As part of this journey, we are committed that all packaging will be reusable and recyclable by 2022. And in addition to this, we also committed to eliminate single-use plastic shopping bags from our stores. And to this point, we have now 148 plastic bag-free stores across our fleet. In our food stores, we are rolling out low-cost reusable bags. And in our fashion, beauty, and home stores, we are rolling out paper bags that have been made from 100% recycled material. In line with our commitments, we have also been working to remove unnecessary single-use plastic products, such as plastic straws, plastic stemmed earbuds, and plastic cutlery and the like. And beyond that, and importantly, we also continue to make packaging improvements by removing unsustainable packaging substrates and incorporating more reusable, recyclable, and sustainable sourced packaging. For example, we have replaced our polystyrene trays that we use for our avos with a craft tray made from recycled paper. The challenge, though, is always to balance the functional role of packaging, maintaining quality and freshness, something that is sacrosanct to us at Woolies, in addition to product safety, the protection of the product from damage, transportability, labeling, etc., with the need to avoid unnecessary and over-packaging. Packaging also plays a significant role in preventing food loss and waste. And in a country like ours here in South Africa, where it is reported that up to 30% of all food that is produced is lost, we take our obligation towards avoiding food waste very seriously. It is as important to us as reducing the amount of packaging we use. And to that, if you add to that our focus on quality, you would see the challenge becomes quite clear. So it is important that we find the correct balance in this process. I thought I'd spend a minute to share with you some of the processes we have in place to drive ownership and to drive accountability for the various initiatives across the business. As previously mentioned, the Good Business Journey is a core business strategy. And that's very important because it informs and shapes many of the other strategies, and it is fully incorporated into our overall business strategy and growth blueprint. We typically set targets for a 5-year period with intermediate 1-year milestones so that we can track each business unit and hold them accountable for execution of their respective initiatives. Progress is measured on a biannual basis through a robust scorecarding process, and the results are reported through to our WHL Board Sustainability Committee. So the Good Business Journey really for us, I think facilitates a consistent organization-wide approach to managing sustainability issues across the business, up and down the supply chain. And it has been a key enabler in our efforts to become one of the world's most responsible and sustainable retailers. Over the years, the company has indeed made commendable progress on a number of fronts. For instance, we were one of the first major retailers to sign up for the EP 100 initiative in 2017. And we were also the first South African company to sign up to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's New Plastics Commitment in 2018. In addition, we have contributed almost 4 billion rand to our local communities across the group, exceeding our own targets here. But notwithstanding the numerous accolades, we know there is always much more to do. In 2015, we set ourselves a range of sustainability targets for the 5-year period, all the way through to 2020. In many cases, we not only achieved, but exceeded these. And maybe we were not thinking big enough. We are now in the process of finalizing new group-wide Good Business Journey goals and commitments based on the issues that we've identified as most important for us as an organization. and these are outlined here. Where possible, our targets will be set on a science or context-based approach and aligned with various global collective initiatives as well. So many companies now, I think, recognize how important this work is, but corporate sustainability as a whole, I think, is at a critical juncture. It's not enough, in my view, for companies to just talk about it. It's not enough to just set targets and to think that targets alone will get us to where we need to be. We have to move from talking about it and setting targets to executing on the actions to achieve those targets. And we have to hold ourselves more accountable. So it really has to be about impact, not just about plans. And this is urgent. I mean, our planet is demanding it. Our communities are demanding it. Consumers want it. More investors are calling for it. The business imperative is overwhelming. In fact, I really believe that it is the only way to ensure long-term business continuity and success. In closing, I'd like to emphasize that whilst we, Woolworths, as one organization, can of course make a difference in all of these important areas, profound, sustainable, real impact and progress will require significantly elevated levels of collaboration among stakeholders at large, all of us working together. But in particular, I believe the business community can and must play a leading role in driving many of these initiatives. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for the opportunity and the NED Group to share our journey with you.
Fantastic, thanks Roy, and I'm sure we all appreciate, or everyone dialed in appreciated your thorough recap on the work you guys are doing at Woolworths. And I'm glad you mentioned water, and I'm not sure whether I should be ashamed to admit this, but a couple of weeks ago, a few friends and I dropped down a manhole up in Fredhoek, did a hike underneath the city through the tunnels, dredging through ankle-deep water, spider webs, cockroaches, etc. And I think about 2 kilometers in, someone said, "Where are we?" And the chap leading us said, "We're roughly underneath the head office of Woolworths." So I assure you we weren't there to commit a heist, but I subsequently remember reading that your head office was using some of that runoff water from Cape Town in terms of recycling and reticulation within your head office. But the one question I want to ask, which actually I think popped up on one of your slides earlier as a bullet there, was your sustainability committee. So in another lifetime, a few years ago, I was an ESG equity analyst, and I always found comfort in the fact that Woolworths had a sustainability committee. In fact, it was quite progressive at the time. And subsequently, since every now and then I do look at more companies, and it seems to have cottoned on a little bit, and that a lot more South African listed companies now have sustainability committees. And I'm hoping maybe you can shed some light in terms of the functionality of this committee, the value it adds, and if you think going forward there should be a minimum standard for South African corporates.
Yes, no, well, thanks for the question. I mean, I think, having a sustainability committee at board level, I think really for us, anyway, underpins or underscores the importance that we place on sustainability. It certainly allows, the right sort of engagement and deliberation on a myriad of issues, integrated issues that might not ordinarily, I think, be considered at that level in the organization. I mean, obviously, we believe that sustainability is not something that is separate from the business, but rather integral to how we manage and operate the business. And having this committee in place, and ensuring that the deliberate and purposeful time is set aside, to discuss these issues. But it does allow the board to deeply engage on key topics, and their relevance to the business and stakeholders. So, whether it should become a minimum standard for all major listed companies or companies, I think is a really relevant and good question. There's certainly, I think, much to be said in favor of it. It certainly works for us. But I think what is essential here is that the types of discussions around sustainability issues really do get elevated and discussed, whether it's through a subcommittee of the board or the board itself. But those issues need to be sort of debated and discussed, at the highest level in the organization. One of the benefits we also have seen, frankly, to us, just coming back to that, is just the sort of levels of accountability it sort of secures, throughout the organization, because it absolutely is on the agenda every time we meet. So, so obviously for us, a very important component of our execution.
And then another topic which I guess gets people quite emotive is plastic. I believe you are one of the founding sort of signatories or members of the SA Plastic Pact. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit about what that pact is, how it works, Because I imagine, and you did mention this earlier, in fact, about balancing freshness of product versus, creating further waste that goes out into the world, if we think about the amount of plastic in the oceans these days. So, and for any of our clients out there that have read some of our quarterly commentary, we've had quite a lot of our fund managers engage the big retailers in South Africa on plastic. And so, yeah, just your thoughts on plastic going forward from a Woolworths perspective.
Sure. I mean, the point around the South African Plastics Pact, that is a collaborative initiative, and I spoke about collaboration a lot because I think that is the key to unlocking significant progress on a range of sustainability areas, But the SA Plastic Pact is a sort of a collaborative initiative that brings together various stakeholders from the local plastics value chain, including business, obviously, South African government, NGOs, and other organizations to really tackle plastic packaging waste and pollution. And the aim here is really to create a circular economy for plastic packaging. I mean, the pact itself has set already a number of targets that all of its members have agreed to and aligned to, which is really positive. And it is the sort of first plastic pact on the African continent, and it is part of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's Plastic Pact Network, which obviously includes other countries in developed markets, UK, France, etc., as well as a number of countries in developing markets. I'd like to point out that obviously, in terms of our own packaging targets, which we announced in June 2018, that preceded the South African Pact by some margin. And as I mentioned in my short presentation, the challenge is absolutely there to always try and find the balance between the functional role of packaging, in securing food safety, etc., presentation, etc., waste, and so on, and obviously where we can to really absolutely eliminate or avoid unnecessary and over packaging.
Thank you, Roy. We do have a couple more minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're in your second year at Woolworths. Is that correct?
Yeah, not quite. So I think at the end of next month it'll be a full year.
Okay, congratulations for your anniversary there. Like I said to Clem, I like doing some background investigation of the people that we have on the summit. And you obviously had a previous life at Levi Strauss in the US. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. As someone who's quite into outdoor sports, and the first name that comes up in terms of a clothing brand is usually Patagonia in terms of what they're doing around sustainability. But like I said, pleasantly surprised when I went onto Levi Strauss's website in terms of just the materials, so the sustainable cotton. I think you mentioned that earlier as well, looking to secure 80% plus sustainable cotton going forward. But in fact, they're almost encouraging people to reuse and recycle their products, in the sense they almost discourage you from buying and want this product to be a lifetime product. So when you eventually did arrive at Woolworths back in South Africa, were there some key learnings that you learned from your time there at Levi Strauss, and how advanced were Woolworths in this discussion? Were you pleasantly surprised?
Yes, in fact, one of the reasons, when one considers making an organizational change, you do look at the approach, the values of the company, and fundamentally what it sort of stands for. And my assessment of Woolworths at the time, was very positive in this respect. Clearly, Levi Strauss, I think is very far ahead or advanced certainly in the apparel space. With regards to a range of sustainability sort of initiatives. In fact, they would argue that they were one of the most foremost companies when it came to sustainability, because obviously the invention of the blue jean really came about by them trying to find a solution for the gold miners on the west coast there, needing to keep going down these mining holes, and actually they would come up every other day, and their clothing would be worn out. And so the invention of denim, and then particularly the invention of the rivet, which allowed them to sort of put certain patches in certain strategic places on the pant, allowed miners to actually not have to sort of frequently change out their clothing and so on. So their roots around sustainability go back well into the 1800s, obviously. But yes, no, they've subsequently done some very significant work across the value chain on all areas of sustainability, and in fact parallels many of the things that the Woolworths Group have been working on. So it was a sort of a natural and an easy sort of transfer across for me. And as I said, I'm exceptionally proud and really pleased to be able to be leading the group. I do think there's more we can do, and as I said, our good business journey is aptly described as a journey, because this is a journey. And it's just critical that we make sure that we're making the right sort of progress, literally every day, every week, every month, every year, as we tackle some of these very significant issues.
Thank you very much. And I do assure you I am wearing my full suit and tie. I'm not wearing my pair of jeans underneath this desk here. We did have Clem Sant on earlier chatting about climate change, and he did reference the fires, for example, happening in Australia with intensity and increased frequency as well. Do you yourselves have, I guess maybe this also talks to the Sustainability Committee, a climate change expert? Would you say that the company is relatively well versed? I mean, particularly in South Africa, I imagine one of the hardest sort of hit sectors of your business would be in the food production space.
Yes, I mean, clearly, I mean, I mentioned that, I mean, we do sort of get very involved in farming, from a farming perspective in our Farming for the Future program, and that is looking at, farming practices, particularly in water-stressed areas. And we work, again, in a very collaborative way with a number of stakeholders to actually address and really come up with some of the solutions that we're implementing, leveraging data, leveraging technology much more fully. So from that perspective, we are very engaged and very involved. But to your earlier question around experts and so on, I mean, we are very connected in to a range of different fora and to a range of different organizations, and we absolutely do tap in. I mean, this is something that a company, I think can't really go down the track on your own. This is about collaboration and actually accessing the best expertise where and when you can find it. So, we're very much part of that, and in fact, I think we like to sort of try and get as far ahead of some of these things that we're working on as possible.
Thank you, Roy. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that South Africa is one of the 30th driest countries in the world. And if we look at the climate science, when they say they're targeting 1.5 degrees, it was 2, they're now looking to target 1.5 degree warming by, I think it's 2100. Africa, as a rule of thumb, warms twice as fast. So if the world's warming by 2 degrees, Africa is about 4 degrees, and often means less absolute rainfall for countries like South Africa as well. So I really appreciate your Farming for the Future campaign. I think it's now in its 10th or 11th year. But there's also a business case behind it as well. If you think from a fund manager point of view, you're investing in a company that has this value chain, bringing in small-scale farmers, more diversified sources of agriculture. It makes your business model a little bit more robust and resilient. So we appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And thanks very much for taking your time to spend with us this morning.
No, not at all. Thank you very much, David. It's my pleasure, and good luck with the rest of your meeting.
Excellent. Thank you. Take care.